Question for you.
Yes.
Okay. There are things people will buy secondhand, right? I mean, like here in Hong Kong, a lot of people go to like what Brand Off, I think it's called, Tokyo.
Like handbags,
yeah,
cars.
Milan Station in Lan Kwai Fong and wherever else. So they don't have any issue with that if it looks okay, you know, and nobody has to know. What about secondhand bling, like somebody else's ring, somebody else's brooch or brooch? Brooch. Or whatever you call it.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily buy someone else's jewelry. Maybe if it was somebody famous, I would want to. But I don't like
how would
wearing
people know that it
secondhand
was
stuff.
owned by somebody famous?
I would know.
Yeah, but nobody else would know. Isn't that kind of superficial?
No, you could say, oh, this is Madonna's ring.
Okay, this is why we'll never understand. Angelina Chen is Senior Director of New York and Hong Kong at CIRCA, which makes basically a market maker in, I don't want to say secondhand jewelry because it makes it sound dirty and used. It has a connotation, but pre-owned.
Pre-owned.
There we go.
Pre-owned and estate. So estate is a word that encompasses pre-owned.
Right.
And in North America and Europe, and I think in certain pockets of Asia, people do love secondhand jewelry. People understand that it's always time to move on and to move on from the jewelry, sell their jewelry basically because it's not something that they're using.
Right.
It's, as you were mentioning, Milan Station, I think, is the handbags, clothes. People are very used to reselling at this point in time. And we've been doing really well in Hong Kong. CIRCA started here in 2006 and really was the leader in buying jewelry from the public.
Very interesting.
What type of things do people sell? I mean, heirlooms, I would imagine, would demand more money, and you could sell it for more. But what types of things are people selling?
Well, we have a lot of clients who are very fashion forward, who are very conscious of what's new and important with the change of all the houses bringing out the new collections. So when a new collection comes out and they have an old piece from, let's say, 10 years ago, they will want to move on from that. A lot of times their kids don't even want it. I certainly don't want my mother's ring.
I hope she's not watching the film today.
She knows. I've made it quite clear.
Right. How durable is jewelry, though? I mean, jewelry is a fashion item. It's not just the value of the materials. It's not just the value of, like, for instance, you have some samples here. It looks like maybe a little neck thing of mini Mickey Motos or something like that. I mean, would a design like this still be relevant and coveted 20 years later? Well, it looks like it's 20 years old, probably.
That's a great question. Great question. And that's because it is from 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I think a lot of the houses had made these chokers. Now, actually, this piece is much older than that. This is a piece from the 1920s, hence it's so tiny. Women back then are much smaller. So jewelry styles do change over time. But right now, chokers are not in style.
Right.
This was associated with Princess Diana. I bought this choker from a lady who had purchased it about 20 years ago when it was very in fashion.
Right.
So now she doesn't want to wear it anymore. So she's decided to let it go and buy actually a long chain. The long chains are very in right now.
Aren't you glad you don't live in the 1920s? They had to choke themselves back then.
How do you appraise something like this?
Well,
yeah, it's very intrinsic, isn't it? Very intrinsic.
Not just intrinsic. Not just intrinsic. Take, for example, this little brooch here.
You can hold it higher so people can see?
Is that jade or what is it?
There is emeralds and sapphires and rubies and diamonds and a little bit of onyx and crystal. So intrinsically, and it's made in platinum, intrinsically, if I break it down, there's probably $300 US dollars worth of platinum here.
That's it?
That's it. It's very light. It's a little deco piece. But it's a beautiful period piece. It is a brooch, however, which is not popular these days because it's very difficult to wear brooches on softer material these days. Change in fashion. So it's more than just the intrinsic value of the diamonds, the stones, and the platinum. It's a look. It's just beautiful. It's got color, and it's what you call the tutti frutti sort of
it's very nice.
color.
It's a rainbow, kind of a menagerie of colors. So you say 300 worth of platinum in there. How much would it cost me to buy that for Emily?
Well,
I'm just getting interested in what the premium goes for.
I would think that at retail, and a retailer can charge whatever they want. So this could retail for 25,000 US.
Whoa.
It could retail for 10,000 US.
Right.
It depends on how well you shop and where you shop.
Right. Okay. And whether you like it or not. So some of it's intrinsic. Thank you, Angelina. Thank you for joining us. Okay.
You're most welcome.
And best of luck. If you'll leave that tray with Emily, she'll give it a test drive. Still to come, can Abe find a way around the pacifist constitution in Japan and make self-defense forces more than just defensive?